Twitter stuff taken care of. Get the bot. I should walk on screen and get the Discord stuff posted. So, hello everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is September 1st, and this is the September 1st XQuest Devstream. So, today we are going to be working on key bindings. Oh dear, and of course I've moved my avatar because of weird settings. Thank you for that. Okay, well, that's interesting. Let's see if I can get that to be right again. So, sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. It seems like apparently clicking on the top of a window and dragging it up and down will resize it, which is super weird to me. But anyway, I'm going to also go ahead and set up coding because we're going to be doing some coding today. So like I said, we're going to be working on key bindings today, although we're going to actually start with an FOV slider because it's something that I thought I had put in, but apparently I did not. So we're going to put that in there real quick because it's very important in your first-person game to have an FOV slider. So let's go ahead, click through here, start. We're going to go to Options, Game. So you can see that we don't currently have any sort of slider for it. It's probably going to behave similarly to smoothing frames in that you will have a slider that you can adjust as well as an input field that you can adjust. And I'm going to assume that our field of view is going to be limited between 45 and 120. I don't think it's really going to be easy to go above that. By default, I believe most of the cameras in the scene that are not your first-person camera, let's see here. Where are you? Here we are. I believe these are 60. Yep. And 60 is kind of a default camera setting as far as non-first person games go, and kind of first person games if you're playing them on your TV but not on your computer. I typically actually like to play at around 90 field of view, but 60 is certainly acceptable. But if we come down to, let's see, prefabs, player, hero. If we look at the main camera here, you'll see that it's set to 75. Which I did as like a happy medium between 60 and 90 because I like mine at 90, but a lot of players that are not super into FPSs get a little disoriented and can get motion sickness from that because it does look weird, but it lets you see a lot more information, which is why I like to use it. But if you're not used to it, then it can actually give you some amount of sort of disorientation. So of course I want to make sure that I can just adjust those things at runtime. Which is what we're going to start with today. Because it's a pretty simple task, and I think I know how I want to handle it. So, let's go to game options. We're going to drag that out to here. Open this up. All right. We're going to go to content. Well, how do we want to handle this? Probably what we're going to do, and there's actually a few other things that I want to do to this menu as well. Let's see if I can get the scroll bar to behave. And actually, yeah, cool, nice. So probably what we'll do is when smooth mouse look is not enabled, I'm actually going to turn off the smoothing frame amount, so it'll be grayed out. And I think that's pretty much the only thing that I really need to change as far as that goes. Show word hints, I could adjust that, but I'm not too worried about that. I might actually end up adding that just as a fun thing to do on Saturday. So yeah, I think we're going to basically adopt this approach where we have smoothing frames with a slider bar and an input field. So let's go ahead and grab smooth look amount. So we're going to duplicate that. And I'm actually going to put this, where do I want to put this? FOV is very important in my opinion. But it doesn't necessarily need to be first. I suppose I could put it at the end below mouse sensitivity. That would probably be fine. That way I can keep all of the sliders together. So let's do that. And I don't want to separate smooth mouse look and smoothing frames, and before that it's all booleans. So Let's go ahead and change this. We're going to call this FOV. Change our label. Actually, before I do that, I got to scale this down to 111. Change this label so that it says field of view. We'll go to, oh right, I forgot that I called it Landos. Okay, so we're going to change this to FOV slider and FOV input. Okay, now the input is going to be interesting because it's going to be an integer number. That is correct. Its character limit is going to be 3. And I do have to clamp it, which is going to be odd. So let's go ahead and we'll say, keep all that. Default text I will put at 75, I guess, because that's a decent, I think, area. 60 to me feels too low in first-person games, especially on the monitor. It's better when you're sitting on a couch and playing a 60 FOV setting, but when you're right up against the monitor, it gets really. It gives me a headache now, honestly, if I play it that low. So I think 75 is a good happy medium there. So we want the slider to go from 45 to 120. I think that will be fair. That would be 75 to start. And yeah, that kind of puts it about right in the middle. That's pretty good. So that's pretty much all I need to do as far as the graphic creation goes. Let's open up our script here. Okay, so we're going to say, let's see, smoothing amount. I guess I will duplicate this, paste this, and say FOV button. And then we're going to come down to, let's see here, copy this, paste that in. This is going to be our FOV slider, followed by our FOV input. Okay. And let's get our hint field in there, which means that I need to make that actually go one more. This will be our FOV hint. And it's going to say, how would I describe FOV actually? Let's kind of take a look at that. I don't actually know if that's like the, I guess it'd be the angle that the camera observer area. Yeah, it's the angle through which devices can. Okay, so it's the angle that the camera sees at. Ah, geez, what's a good way of summarizing this? Hmm. Um, so I guess the angle of, no, not observable. The angle. Geez. I guess I've never actually read detailed descriptions of FOV. Like I know what it is and I can describe it, but I can't actually figure a way to make it, like just to describe it to someone who has never played a game before, which is what I have to keep in mind when I'm writing these tooltips. That, God, it would probably be like the. I don't want to just jump in and say like higher numbers means you see more, because that doesn't make sense. The angle the camera captures. Jeez, that's terrible. Jeez. Hold on. Let me. Oh, I closed it. Because of course I did. Let's look for like a good FOV description. Let's see if Wikipedia can help us, because sometimes it can. Let's see, field of view. It's not angle of view, I wouldn't think, right? It might actually be, which is really funny. Yep, it actually is. That's funny. Yep, because that's what that is. Huh. Okay, so this is going to be then basically the angle the camera renders a scene at. Ugh, what a terrible way of doing that, of naming that. It's just so stilted. The angle the camera renders at higher values show more of the image, but may cause some distortion. That's good enough for now, I guess. Okay, so then we're going to come down here. We're going to say private float cached FOV is equal to 75F. I guess there's actually no reason why it can't be a... I'm going to make it be a float on the back end, but presented as an int up front, because it doesn't really make sense for me to try and do like decimal values, honestly, for this sort of thing. It feels like it'd be better just for me to focus on whole int values. So there's no rounding errors or anything like that. That might be weird. So before I do anything else, let's go over to game settings, because I'm going to have to add this stuff. So we're going to say public static. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Wrong thing. These are the bools. Where are you? Here we are. So it's going to be public. Oh, yawn. And then we're going to say FOV get return instance. Yep, I didn't think so. We're just going to do that for now. Let's go over to here, peak definition. Let's go ahead and paste this. We'll say 75F. This is going to be our FOV. Okay, so this is going to be our FOV versus set instance.fov is equal to value. Refresh gameplay. Oh, not graphics setting. Refresh gameplay settings. Okay. Pretty standard up front. Let's go to definition real quick. And here is where I think we'll be fine. So we'll say tq game manager dot hero reference dot main camera dot fov is equal to fov. Now, okay. And it is a float. That's why I'm treating it as a float on the back end, because I knew it was going to be a float eventually. Let's go back here, and now we can actually set this stuff up. So let's see, under sensitivity X, we're going to say private float, not sensitivity, FOV, get return game settings dot FOV versus set game settings dot FOV is equal to value. Okay, getting pretty good. We're going to set our cached FOV to be equal to FOV, and then refresh settings probably needs to be applied. Let's see. Show hint smoothing amount. Okay, so this is going to be FOV slider dot value is equal to FOV. Okay, on cancel clicked. FOV is equal to cached FOV. Okay, now we get into the actual event listeners. Smooth clicked. Oh, right, these aren't, they're not clicking, so. Why changed? Pretty much we're just going to copy this and rename it and change what they do. But copying is saving some amount of the code, I guess. So we're going to say on FOV slider changed, versus on FOV input change. We're going to say FOV is equal to value, FOV input dot text is equal to value dot toString with 3 zeros. I'm going to say, let's see, this is going to be FOV slider dot value is equal to value dot toFloat. Okay, pretty straightforward there. And I think we're good. So now I just need to assign the actual event listeners. Let's see, smoothness button. So we're going to come down here and we're going to say FOV button dot on click dot add listener. Does nothing actually. Hold on. I don't need an event listener for that because I only need the hover value. So we'll come down here. We're going to say FOV slider dot on value change dot add listener on FOV slider changed, followed by FOV input dot on value change dot add listener on FOV input changed. Okay, let's go ahead and down here we're going to say FOV button dot on hover enter dot add listener delegate on hover enter FOV hint. Oh, did that backwards. FOV hint. Oh, come on. Hint. Okay. There's that. And finally, we're going to end with FOV button dot on hover exit dot add listener on hover exit. Exit. Okay. So now I should have everything set up. Let's let that compile real quick. And I should just be good to go there. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do need to set up saving real quick. So let's go down to save settings. Let's go to it's not load. That's fine. It's going to be under our gameplay info. Okay, right about here. And I'm going to go ahead and peek. I will be so, yeah, I was going to say, very impressed if I don't have this used anywhere. What even is this for? That's super weird. Okay, let's go back to here and go back to here. Where did I go? I lost it. Here we are. Close this, and we're going to say FOV is equal to gameplay info dot get float value settings utility dot game underscore FOV with a default value of 75. Okay, so that should handle loading it in. Now we need to save it out. So we're going to come down to here, and we're going to say gameplay JSON dot add settings utility dot game underscore FOV followed by FOV. Okay, pretty straightforward. And that's all I should need. So now it should properly load the FOV value. If it does not exist, it will load it in automatically with a default value of 75. And then from there, we'll be able to adjust it. So first pass we're going to do on this is just going to be a visual run. It's not going to actually affect our camera. And then once we have it working there, actually no, it actually would affect our camera now that I think about it because it's going to be saving it. So that should be fine actually. Although I will real quick before I do anything else, I'm going to go down here to game options view. And actually no, it's going to be under game settings, isn't it? And there should be a refresh gameplay settings. Here we are. Let's see if this is referenced anywhere specific that I don't know. I'm a little worried about that, but it should be fine. I'm not sure if it's going to spawn with the correct FOV settings, but it should be fine for now. All right, let's assign our references real quick. Oh my god, the inspector for these things are getting way too long. FOV FOV, put that in for the event button, and then we have our slider, and then we have our input field, and that's pretty much all we need to do. So, oh, interesting, it's not showing our, curious, whatever. Let's go ahead and save that out. Let's close this, turn that off, hit apply. Okay, turn off our UI and hit play. So we should be able to see this in motion now, provided that it actually lets me save. There we go. So we should be able to actually see the FOV stuff. We should be able to interact with it. Should save it out. Should load it up. Everything should function there. And technically, we should be able to actually have it show up in the gameplay as well. So let's go to options, game, down to here. I'm going to say field view. Okay, so 120 versus 45. The angle the camera renders the scene at. Higher values show more of the image, but may cause some distortion. Okay, let's go ahead and put it up at, I'm going to do 75 because that's the default. We'll hit apply there. Let's go ahead and continue, which should start us here. Now I'm going to try to adjust it, which should send out an event to update the angle. Let's go to game. I'm going to crank this up. Ooh, cool. Well, that works out pretty well then. Yeah, that's way easier than I was expecting, so. Okay, so, yeah, so this is our default value, 75, and then I usually play at 90 in games like this, first-person games. So let's go ahead and hit apply there. Let's go back, resume. Yeah, it's nice. Although I must admit, actually, I've been playing at 75 for so long that it is a little weird now. It's a little weird going to 90. But that is essentially all we needed to do for FOV support. So now we have an FOV slider. Cool. I'm actually going to go ahead and let's go back to our game view. So it's at 90. I'm going to back out. I'm going to stop playing, and then I'm going to replay to make sure that it persists. And admittedly, before I do that, I am going to do one more thing, which is I'm going to take the FOV input, and I'm going to make it 0.75 instead of 75, just so we don't get that jarring change there. Apply. Okay, now it should be a little more fun to work with. So, in theory, it will load everything up. It'll still be at 90, and then when we jump in, it will be at 90. If it's not, I'm not sure. Well, we'll just have to make sure that our player is responding with the correct parameters. Let's go here. I think that is 75. I am like 90% sure that that is 75. That is 75. Okay, well, let's see if it saved it though. Game. It is. And if I drag this, oh, shoot, really? Wait, what is going on? So you're at 90 right now. You're at 90. Weird, I didn't. Huh. Okay. Did I just not notice it snap? Like, it didn't look like it changed at all when I started moving it. Weird. Okay. Well, either way, I still feel like I'm just going crazy. I guess it is only 15 degrees. So let's go ahead and go to options again. Game. We're going to shrink this down to 45. Oh god, this is going to murder me. Oh my god, it's so tight. Ah, it's so hard to look at everything. Oh god, it's like walking around with goggles on that distort your vision. It's legitimately difficult to actually look at this stuff. Ugh, that is rough. Okay, let's put that back. We'll go to 90 because that's what I like to play at. Zoom. Okay, nice. Yeah, that feels a lot better. Okay, let's go ahead and quit out real quick. And I am actually going to check what happens when we spawn our hero, because I'm pretty sure that it's not initializing its values correctly. Let's go to definition. There should be a spawn function. Let's see. Also, there's a bit of optimization we can do there real quick. So I'm gonna do like that so that I know it's got an error there. Spawn, here we are. Euler in dark check set player control true. Blah 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 blah. Maybe I should just call refresh. So let's go to game settings dot refresh. Gameplay settings. That might honestly be enough. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's undo this. So I'm going to optimize this physics.raycast stuff for get item drop point because it could totally be used for, or it could totally be a non-allocating array there instead of a regular array. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to comment that out so that we get an error again, so it's easy to come back and do stuff. And then I'm going to come up to here. Where are you being used? Fine. Except actor, I'm pretty sure, comes from SOS mono behavior. Yeah. So let me go ahead and find all references here. I'm just going to change these to just be transform because I now have a better transform one that's not called cache transform. Okay, let's go over to here. Transform, and that lets me get rid of some code. Transform. Hit OK there. Transform. Copy. Paste. Looking good. Let's go back here, and now if I look for this, there is nothing. Good, good, good. Let's get rid of cache transform as well. Nice, and that means I can come down here and also do some nice optimization. Well, not really optimization, but clean up on the code. Okay, so we're going to say private raycast hit. It's going to be an array, and this is going to be our non-alloc hits. Is equal to new raycast hit of 0. Okay, and let's go ahead and I'm going to just say serialized field private int non-alloc array size is equal to, I think 3 is probably enough by default. Hello, the Palm Tree Llama. Welcome back, and thank you for the bits. Nugget, chicken, cheese. Are these the same as a Pee-wee's? If you rhyme anything hard enough, then the answer is always yes. How are you doing today? Alright, so we have our non-alloc hits, but on start I do need to actually initialize that. So let's go back to here, and before I do anything else... Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting. It didn't show it because I guess it was gone, but that's fair. Just do transform, and okay. We'll just do it on spawn, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. So we're just going to say if non-alloc array, or non-alloc hits, dot length is equal to 0. We're going to say non-alloc hits is equal to new raycast hit non-alloc array size. Okay, don't need to initialize it or anything. We can just leave it as is. And then we can come back down here, and we're just going to do a bunch of stuff, which is going to mean we don't care about you. And instead, we are going to do int count is equal to physics extensions dot raycast distance non-alloc. We will give it the ray. We'll give it our non-alloc hits, and then I need to give it a closest index, which I will do real quick. So int index is equal to 0. Out index. And I suppose that will be a 1.5 distance. Yes. So 1.5f, comma. Okay. So that should give us that. Doing good? You have to go? Oh, you just got here, though. That's sad. Well, thank you for stopping by, at least. Uh, Hopefully you have a fun Saturday. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to say if our count is greater than 1, if count is greater than 0, sorry, not greater than 1, yeah, greater than 0, means that we hit something, and so we can return our transform position plus transform.forward plus a new vector, and that is fine, I guess. Sure. Otherwise, it just drops it right where we are with a slight bit of elevation. Okay, that's fair. And that should now optimize our garbage a little bit. We're not going to be generating garbage every time we drop an item. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and let that compile. And that should also mean that our FOV will be correct now whenever we start a game. Whenever we spawn the player, they should spawn and then just refresh settings, so everything should be fine. I don't think I really want to do anything too crazy. Like, this isn't going to make things terrible, is it? Here we are. So, nope, all we do is adjust values. So that's perfectly fine then. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, so we'll let that go. We're going to clear this stuff. Let's hit play again. And then we'll jump into the scene. Start. Go to continue. And I'm pretty sure that that is 90. It looks like it. 90! Alright, we're doing good. Now let's go to game. Let's change our field of view down to 75. Hit apply, back, resume. So this is what 75 looks like. Alright, nice. Well, we now have field of view working. So cool. I was a little concerned if I should try to get the menu camera set up to use field of view, but I don't actually think that makes sense. The menu cameras are the cameras that render scenes when the main menu is loaded, and you can see the most recent save file level in the background. I think it's fine to keep them all at 60 because you're not moving around with them. It's just a flat image, and it's not something that you have to really focus on. So I think it's fine to keep them at 60. But we do at least now have control for the player character to adjust FOV. Oh my god, I don't know why I keep yawning. So cool. Now that that's done, we can move on to the main task for today, which is key bindings. Although, I guess I could actually real quick get the whole like FOV slider, or not FOV, sensitivity slider or smoothing slider being grayed out if it's not enabled, but it's fine, I think. So let's go ahead and let that compile. So currently, oh, and actually, you know what? Before I forget, let's go ahead and go to Show and Explore. Let's go to TextQuest settings. I just want to take a look at the settings file. So this is our game settings. You can see that we do have 75 as our FOV. Everything else is pretty sensible. Although, admittedly, I feel like the mouse sensitivity numbers are kind of like magic numbers. Like sensitivity 4 feels right, but I don't know why 4 feels right. I don't know why it's not 8 or 6 or 5. It's 4. But they're all options. So usually the more options you can give players, the better off they'll be. Okay. So let's go to our key binding stuff. You can see everything that we have so far. So we need ways to basically let our current menu, which functions in that it loads the information for those particular fields, but we don't actually have it working in the sense that we can actually customize key bindings yet. So that's going to be the thing that we have to figure out today. And I do think I know how I want to handle that. Let's go to options, key bindings. You can see that we have all of these different key bindings. The idea being that the parentheses surrounds the key that is used to do these things. So there are some oddities that we're going to have to deal with. For one, anything that is 2 words is really awkward. Like it says left control, but it's camel case. And obviously, as a programmer, I'm used to that, and it doesn't look terrible to me. But as a designer, like left control with no space in it is ugly. Same thing with left shift. And then you have stuff like mouse 1, which for most people, they won't know what mouse 1 means. If you've played games before, you might know what mouse 1 is. If you are a programmer, then you probably know what mouse 1 is. But mouse 1 is the right mouse button. Mouse 0, which is down here, is the left mouse button. And I need to basically convert these values to be left and right mouse button. And then if I have a mouse 2, it'll probably be rendered as middle mouse, I guess, or middle click. So it'll be left click, right click, middle click. And yeah, so I don't need to format everything necessarily, but for specific key codes, I do want to actually format to get more readable values there. So let's go ahead and stop that. And I don't actually know if I want to make that a common utility or not, because it seems like it would be something that might be useful everywhere. Also, hello, pirates. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? Today. Oh god, it is today, not tonight. I'm so used to doing nightly dev streams. Okay, so we'll keep that open for now. But we are going to have to do a couple of things. I actually need to expand key binding data. This is something else that I needed to do. And we are going to need to have a public string hint, and this is just the description for that particular field. We're going to make this a text area with, I'm going to say 3 by 3, that's probably fine. Let's see. Go ahead and tooltip these. So this is going to be our hint shown when the key binding button is hovered over. Okay. And let's go ahead and let that compile. And we are also going to go to, where are you? Don't need these things. Key binding button does derive from event button, so it's probably fine. Let's go to key binding options view. And essentially what we need to do is whenever we hover over a button, we need to show that information in the output label. So I'm going to go down to here. I'm just going to say private void on key binding hovered with a string hint, I guess. We're just going to say output label dot text is equal to hint versus private void on key binding hover exit. This is actually going to be hover enter, and this is going to just be output label dot text is equal to nothing. Okay, I'm okay. Made a lot of progress on my new app making. Nice. Got like 1 hour and 20 minutes. I don't know. Shall I stream or do something else? I don't know. That's probably up to you. How long would you want to stream for? Just at the hour and 20 minutes? Because I feel like shorter streams aren't as interesting for people to watch. I could be wrong on that, but it would always seem to me like around the hour and a half to 2 hours is the sweet spot in terms of duration, because then it's long enough for people to trickle in, and it's long enough that people won't just like get a notification and then miss it because they didn't immediately tune in. Um, Anyway, so when we come over to here, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to say buttons of i.onHover exit dot remove all listeners, and then here's where this gets fun. We are going to actually say button.onHover enter add listener delegate on binding key binding hover enter, and then we're going to say bindings of i.hint. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I normally shoot around 1 or 2 hours. Yep, that's about the sweet spot, in my opinion. Okay, so now we have it listening for our hover, and it will show our actual hints when we hover over each of these buttons. Let's go ahead and add descriptions for those things, just so we can test them. And for now, I'm also going to go ahead and make cancel just call close, so that I can actually navigate back if I need to. I think we are good there. So let's go let that compile. Man, seriously, don't know why I'm yawning so much. Should have got a nap in before I streamed. Clearly, that's the problem. You say work was horrible today? Why was that? All right, so we're just gonna open all of these up and then take care of them all. God, I really want to make custom property drawers for these because I hate seeing just element 0. I'd much rather just have the thing that it is. Whatever. Key pressed to move forward. Key pressed to move backwards. Key pressed to move. The correct term is strafe. To strafe left. Key pressed to strafe right. Let me make sure I'm spelling strafe right. Huh. Interesting. The first definition of strafe is almost exclusively about attacking with bombs or machine gun fire from a low-flying aircraft. Interesting. I'm pretty sure that the correct term is strafe. Okay then. Well, I'm just gonna stick next to that. Let's see. Everyone telling me to work faster than I can even work. Oof. What do you do for your work? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and collapse these because they're done. Then we have crouch. Key pressed to crouch or stand. Hold on. To crouch and stand. Or perhaps key press to crouch, or parentheses, if standing, and stand, parentheses, if crouched. That's probably fine right there. This is going to be key pressed to jump. Key pressed to sprint very, very annoying. Like they're all just the descriptions are basically the name of the thing. I hate it when that's what tooltips are, but I don't really know how else to set that honestly. Um, key pressed to initiate. Geez, to allow auto movement. Or how about automatic movement? How about to enable / disable automatic movement? That seems better. Store clerk. Okay. It's the only thing I'm allowed to do, which actually earns me a decent amount of shitty bucks. Well, everyone's gotta work somewhere, right? Even if you hate it, having a job is better than not having a job. Okay, so we're gonna rotate up. So there's gonna be key pressed to rotate the camera. And let's say the player's view upwards versus key pressed to rotate the player's view downwards. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this a few times. This is going to be view to the left versus to the right. Okay, interact. So this is going to be key pressed to interact with objects in the scene. Let's go ahead and say key pressed. This is going to say alternative key pressed to interact with the objects in the scene. All good there. Open inventory. So this will be key pressed to open the inventory. How about this? To open the interaction menu and show your current inventory. That's a very long-winded description, but it'll work. How long am I going to stream today? Probably about 2 hours is the goal. I mean, I'm probably going to stream basically until I finish up custom key bindings if I can. So till 5-ish Eastern time, about another hour and 15 minutes-ish. Okay. I'm going to copy this, and we're just going to go ahead and paste that and show. So key press to open the interaction menu and show the help dialog. Let's go ahead and show a list of usable verbs. Okay. And open interaction, which will be key press to open the interaction menu to allow. That's not super great, but it'll work. And then open pause, which is going to be key pressed to open the pause menu. Okay. So that's all of that. Let's go ahead and jump in and play. So we should be able to see all of those hints whenever we hover over the objects or the buttons. Go to start, options, key bindings. Okay, you can see everything. We have an index out of range, except of course we do. Don't tell me that. Yep, that would be why. I meant to make that index. So, geez, I even thought about it as I was typing it, but of course I didn't actually do it. Anyway, the thing that happens here is when you're in a for loop assigning event listeners, you can't use the I in the for loop because it's, how to put it, basically what happens is it gets iterated on before these delegates all get evaluated, which means that they'll all have the last value of I, which funny enough is actually an index out of range problem because it'll be equal to the length of the bindings, which is actually out of range. So by making an index and declaring a new variable in scope for the for loop, it forces it to be allocated as a unique value, and then it can go through, and it's not going to change. So now if we let that go, it should actually function as we would expect. Yeah, for loops in Unity can be annoying to work with. But to be fair, for loops are almost always better than for each loops. They are not quite as different as they used to be. There used to be some real problems with. Geez, I still don't have the compiling sign for some reason, because it's compiling and I can't actually do anything right now. There we go. Yeah, there used to be some really bad problems with the for each loops in Unity. They weren't nearly as performant as for loops, and they could give you some really messed up values if you weren't careful and you were trying to do stuff like event listeners. Um, they've gotten a lot better in recent year, I guess I would say. But I still prefer for loops just because it gives you a little bit more fine control over everything. Anyway, so we're going to go to options, then let's go to key bindings, and now we have all of these. Cool. So you can see that we are hovering. And we are oh wait, was it not? Oh, I need to do that for accept and cancel as well. Duh. So let's go ahead. So key press to open the pause menu, key press to open the interaction menu. Cool. So we're going to want a couple of things, in all honesty. We are going to want to probably format these names and then probably format the keys. So let's go ahead and clear these. And I mean, I guess I have the key string and all that, which, okay. Yeah, so we'll customize this. So we're going to say switch key, and we're going to say case key code dot left control. We're going to return oops, that backfired. So instead of key.toString, we'll just say one new string, which is left control. Okay. And oops. There we are. Let's go ahead and copy this. I'm going to make this our default. And it will return nothing. I will get rid of this later on. I'm just using this so that I can copy easily, which actually makes no sense because I should probably make this key code like space or something. There, yeah, that's better. So let's make this space. I know that that's not actually what we need, but again, this is a temporary thing, so I can copy a lot easier. So we're going to have left control, then I guess we'll have right control, which will of course return right control. Then we are going to want to have left shift. So let's go ahead and do this. Left shift. Left shift. Okay. Then right shift. Right shift. Followed by, what other left things do I have? That's a lot of lefts. Well, let's go to left arrow. Left arrow. Arrow. Duh. Now we're going to paste. So it's going to be right arrow. Followed by right arrow. Then up arrow. And finally down arrow. Down. Up arrow. Okay. All looking pretty good. And let's see. backspace is a special character that is reserved, or a special key that is reserved, as is, excuse me, as is enter. Hmm. Put that. Okay, I think those are good enough values to test for now, because I think that gets pretty much everything that I need as far as formatting goes for the keys. Now we need to do binding names. This is where it gets kind of interesting. So we're going to do switch type, key binding type dot auto move. Let's go ahead and paste that. We will say return auto move. Let's go ahead and copy that. Crouch. We don't actually need to worry about that. Crouch, interact. Interact alt will instead return interact space alt. Okay. And then we have move backward. Move backwards. Go ahead and copy that. Move forward. Forward. Move left. Call this strafe left. Move right. Strafe right. Okay. Oops, capital R. And what else do I need in here? Rotate. I need all the rotates. Rotate down. So it's going to be rotate down. Up. Left. Right. Up. Left. Right. Okay. What else? Interact, open. All the opens. Okay, let's go ahead and change this open. Help. Yeah, this is the more tedious part of it. Sorry about that. So we're going to say open, interaction, open, inventory, open, pause, and then open verbs, pause, menu, inventory, interaction, menu. Not sure how I feel about the menu stuff because that might make it too long. How about this? Show inventory, and then show verbs, and then show help. Okay. So that compile. And now everything should be a little bit nicer in terms of the values that will be displayed, since they'll be formatted a little bit. Not just going to be like flat camel case. So let's see. And still no compiling wheel. Never realized I'd miss you so much, little buddy. I have no way of knowing when I'm done. I guess aside from the warnings that show up. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save and give it a shot. Take a drink real quick. Let's click through all that. Start. Options. Key bindings. Nice. Left control. Mouse. Oh, mouse 1. I forgot the mouse formatting. Womp womp. Ooh, I was going to say, yeah, like, what's going on there? Yep. Okay. Yep. I was a little worried about that. what to do about that. We could shrink the text a little bit. I'm not sure I feel about that. It's really annoying because I really only need to worry about it for the really long names, like show help screen and show interaction menu, which is by far the longest one. Ugh. Or open interaction menu, sorry. Okay. So let's go ahead and stop playing. We need to format our mouse buttons. Click, right click, middle click, right click, middle click. Okay. So open interaction menu is too long. As is show help screen. Which I wouldn't have guessed that one. That one seems a bit okay. So open pause menu. We don't want anything longer than this, essentially. Which, hilarious enough, just open interaction is. Jeez, I might have to shrink the text on these things, honestly, which is a little disheartening, but what are you gonna do? Yep, because show help screen is too long, and these are exactly the same length now, so it would still be a problem. Wow, can't get around that, can I? Okay, let's go ahead and save. We're gonna go through and see what it looks like again, because there are some things I want to take account of. Basically, positioning for the labels for the values. Make sure that I have enough room so that if you have a really long label, that it doesn't cause issues. Let's go ahead and hit play. Except I can't. Because Unity is compiling. Go figure. Okay. Click through all this. Type start. Options. Key bindings. Okay. Yeah, see, like, we're getting really close to the edge here. Maybe it would be good for us to just... So left click. Right click. Nice. I don't know. Maybe it would be better for us to shrink the text down. Oh my god, did I spell show verbs as show varbs? Apparently I did. That's embarrassing. Yeah, as you can see, open interaction and show help screen are too long. So yeah, let's try shrinking them down a bit. First in game where I can see them, just to see what they look like. View container, key bindings, root, content, scroll view, viewport, content. And we're going to change these labels so they're not 48 but rather 36. Honestly, that's fine. It's actually not bad at all. Yeah, let's do that. So 36 then, because I think that's also going to solve my spacing problems. I will try it on show help screen, which I believe is here. There we are. So we're going to make these 36. Yep, nice. Much more real estate. And let's try open interaction just to see what that looks like. Verbs. Here we are. Okay, so 36. Yep, that actually is much better. And can I fit, just out of curiosity, menu on there? Menu. Yeah, almost. So close. Interaction menu really is a very complicated term. I really need a better name for it. But I honestly don't know what else to call it because it's the menu in which you interact with things. So, oh, I guess I could call it open input menu, actually, because that's totally what that would be. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's go ahead and change this. And we're going to just call this open input menu. And let's see. Yep, show verbs. Show verbs. There we go. How embarrassing. Let's go ahead and let that compile. And then I'm going to change the tooltips on the individual hints, specifically the tooltip for open or show inventory, or not show inventory. Sorry, show input menu. Oh my God, it's compiling. I can't freaking do anything with it. Taking forever. Okay, so we're gonna hit clear here, and let's go to UI. Open this up. Turn on our key bindings. Go down to there, and that actually might be fine. Oh wait, no, wrong thing. Sorry, because I don't actually need to adjust that. I just need these things. Okay. Inventory. Here we are. This is going to be key press to open the input menu to interact with objects. The descriptions can be a little bit longer because they have 2 lines to work with instead of kind of being forced onto a label length. Let's go ahead and I think we're going to be good to go there. So let's check that out. Except I didn't change the prefab, so that's not going to work. Give me a second, because I forgot to do the important thing. Okay, so key binding button, grab both of these things. Make this 36. Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay. Let's say start options, key bindings. Oof. Gotta shrink the spacing a bit. Let's go ahead and do that real quick just to kind of get a sense for it. Turn off maximize on play, and I'm going to stop playing. Okay, spacing of 5. What a spacing of 0. That's probably too much. Spacing of 5 is probably fine. Yeah, that's better. I could probably try to shrink the buttons in a little bit, but for the most part, it's fine, I think. Let's see, does everything seem to look right? Okay. I think that pretty much does everything that we would expect. Everything looks right, so I think we're done with this section of it. Cool. So now we need to get the actual binding to work. And that's where things get more dicey. So, what to do about that? Okay, I think I know what I want to do. Let's go to game settings, and we have refresh settings. Let's look at refresh gameplay settings. We're going to put something below this, which is going to be public static void refresh key binding settings. Okay. And here's where things can get a little weird. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So we're going to get binding, and then we'll pass it in so I can reference it in a little bit. Um, input dot. I'm not entirely sure. Reset input axes. Interesting. I'm not sure how to access axis information, which is kind of what I need. Like I know how to get information from the axis, but I don't know how to find the axis itself. Let's see if I can find something. No, I really don't know how to do that then. Give me a second here. I'm curious. I'm not sure if this is going to be a thing or not. Oh my god, still? Wow. Hmm. So we would probably have to use the new input system if we were going to do that. That's not ideal. How do we want to handle this? Hold on. Input modifier. No, that's something else. Input manager. Is that under? Let's see. Unity engine dot internal dot. Okay, that's kind of what I was expecting. Dot input cluster input. That's interesting. I really don't know what to do here. Let's see. I was hoping I could get the actual asset. Maybe I could modify it then. So here's the thing that I want to access. Let's go to Show and Explorer. Inside of every Unity project, there is a project settings folder, and then there is an input manager asset. Now, if I look at this, it might be binary, it might be human readable. Okay, it's human readable. And this is a very long file, as you can tell, because of all of this. But here's the thing. It has information on what these values should be, and that's what makes it useful, is that I should, in theory, be able to change these things at runtime. Excuse me. In theory. But I need to access the actual asset. Because there's a way to do it. I just don't remember if it's an internal thing. I just need to load it into memory so that I can actually adjust it. So yeah, this is just the meta file. Well, the file itself that we were looking at. Uh-oh. Hmm. Hmm. Well, we might be in a bit of a stuck area, actually. I may have to call it a little early and do some research. Because I get the feeling that. I get the feeling that I'm not going to be able to decipher this just on my own, kind of poking and prodding around. I gotta figure out what the frig to load. Like I know where it is and I know what it is, I guess. So it's not figuring out what to load; it's figuring out how to load it properly. It's just gonna take a little bit of time, and I think it's gonna take a little bit of research, which is, well, always fun. Hmm. Yeah, it's not ideal. Also, doesn't help that we have a lot of stuff from like 5 years ago, the past year. Find input manager, character controller, and custom input manager, rewired. Because again, I really, if I can, I want to avoid using rewired. I don't really need super advanced button mapping or anything like that that rewired does. It's kind of bloating the project, and if I can get rid of it, it'd be much better for it. Um, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so it's a little early today, but I do get the feeling that this is going to be an issue that I can't really brute force my way through. So we're not going to call it right now. Actually, I'm going to switch over to just the minor effects that I was talking about, where if we disable mouse smoothing, then I disable the slider and all that. It's a minor thing. Just going to go ahead and do that real quick. Um, we will go to the game options view, which of course I already closed. So let's go ahead and come down to here. Let's move this over. You're gonna be on the Discord in the meantime. I mean, I'll be on Discord, yeah. Um, but for now, I'm gonna continue doing some side stuff just because I don't want to. I don't want to end the stream too suddenly, you know. So I think we're just gonna shift away from custom key inputs for now and work on some minor stuff. So let's see. We have our slider, and this is where things get a little awkward. We're going to open up game options, content, viewport content. We're going to look at, let's see here, smoothing frames right here. And yep. So here's the thing. If I make that not interactable, it doesn't actually do much. So I need to reference the color or the slider background, or I guess the foreground, the fill area here, and change its color. So let's go ahead and we're going to come up to here. We're going to add some new fields, and those fields are going to be, let's see, we have our slider. We're going to come down to smoothing amount input. All right. So here's where we're going to say serialize field, private, image, smoothing, slider, fill. Then we're going to serialize field, private, text mesh pro UGUI, smoothing input label. Okay. And then we're going to come down to here. We'll just put it like right after that. And we're just going to say serialize field, private, color, disabled color is equal to color.gray. We'll figure that out in a second. Serialized field, private, color. Oh, sorry. Yeah, when you message me in the middle of the day, I'm usually at work and I forget to respond. Because I typically tend not to respond too much whenever I'm at work, and then I forget because I'm terrible like that. I actually meant to respond to your UI remarks yesterday, and it just completely slipped by me. Well, not slipped by me. Like I saw it, I didn't comment because I was at work, and then I forgot to comment when I got back because there was like a bunch of spontaneous stuff that happened then. Anyway, so we're gonna say enabled color, and I think that will be fine. So we're gonna say is equal to color.white by default. I feel like this is a weird place to put them, admittedly. It's a little awkward. So let's go ahead and do some tooltips here so I don't forget what these are doing, because I totally will. So this is going to be tooltip for color to set smoothing slider and input label colors to when the option is disabled, versus tooltip here, color to set smoothing slider color to when option is enabled, versus that's a good question. It's fine for now. I'm gonna cheat. Okay, so once we do that, what we're gonna do is let's see, come down to open and refresh settings. I guess would be the thing that I want to do. So go to definition. Refresh. Where are you called from? Oh wow, you're called a lot. Okay, that's perfectly fine actually. As long as I do it when I call on smooth clicked. Yes, cool. So what we're going to do here is when we call refresh settings, at the very bottom here, we're just going to say what's it? Slider fill dot color is equal to mouse smoothing question mark. If it is smoothing, then we're going to say enabled color, else disabled color. Okay, and then we're going to say smoothing. Oh, not smoothing slider. Smoothing input label dot color is equal to pretty much the same thing, but slightly different, which is going to be color.white by default. This actually needs to be the player's favorite color, so I'm going to say to do set to be player set UI color. That's a thing that's not really an issue right now, but it's something for me to do. So what have you been doing the rest of the day? Well, this morning I mowed the lawn, and probably after this I am going to do some trimming because I need to get rid of some trees that think, well, some sprouts that think they're going to be trees and they will not be trees when I'm done with them, because my yard has slowly spiraled out of control and I am trying to regain control of it. So anyway, I think that will actually do everything that I want, so let's go ahead and let that compile. And everything should actually pretty easily fall into place here. Excuse me. Okay, I really wish I had the compile wheel still because it makes it really hard to see it without it. So our enabled color is going to be that. Disabled color is gray, which is fine. Let's go ahead and put in our fill and then text area. Can I actually affect the color here? No. Okay, so it does have to be the actual text. So we're going to drag that in here. We're going to rename this to be Lando's input label, just for consistency's sake, versus Lando's fill. And let's go ahead and let that go. Everything looks nice. Let's turn off our root. Let's hit apply here. And there is actually one more thing that I need to do because I didn't think about this. We're going to set that to be saved. And then we are going to simply say, after that fact, smoothing amount slider dot interactable is equal to mouse smoothing, much like smoothing amount input dot interactable is equal to mouse smoothing. Okay, pretty easy there. So let's let that compile. So what should happen now is when I open up the options menu, it will check to see if mouse smoothing is enabled, and if it is, then we will set our color for the slider to be blue and set our regular label to be white. If it's not, they will be marked as non-interactive, and then they will be set to gray. That way it's very obvious that you cannot interact with them. Oh, are you wearing a wireless headset? Yeah, those can be pretty useful and entertaining. I always think that I'll lose them or break them somehow, but that's just me. Start, go to options, and then game. Nice. See that I can't do anything here. Turn smooth look on. Can turn it on. Put it 25. Turn it off. Nothing. Cool. Nice. So that works. I was a little worried about making this like the border grayed out maybe, but I think that actually just the numbers grayed out is fine. I also think I'm going to change the field of view so that it's not always 3 values. It's just oh, and also actually let me try. I haven't tested this. Oh dear. Okay, hold on. I messed that up. Let's go ahead and stop playing real quick. We're going to go down to our event listener section because I need to say not FOV input to on value change on at end edit. Otherwise, it's going to do that terrible snapping that we were just seeing. Then we're going to go over here, and here is where things get a little weird. We're going to do mathf.clamp between our minimum value, which is going to be our FOV slider dot min value, FOV slider dot max value. So we're just going to make sure that it's clamped firmly within those two. And geez, I think that will be fine. So if I do that, it should work. So we'll let that compile, and then everything should be fine. All right. Any day now. There we go. Let's try this again. through everything. Start options. We'll go to game view, and then we're gonna do view, which right, of course I defaulted it, so 50. 75, yeah, that's much better. Let's try to go below 40. Nice, it got clamped. That's good. That was the thing. So if I go to 150, it should clamp to 120. If I go to like 5, it should clamp to 45. Nice. Although, oh right, it wouldn't show that difference because there isn't a camera for it to access yet. So we're gonna go up to 90, and we'll go to the default of 75 again. So cool, we have that working now, and we have it locking our smoothing frame so you can edit them if smooth mouse look is not enabled. Yeah, I think everything is looking pretty good there. Okay, so let's hit apply, and yeah. So one more small change that I just need to make for the prefab. That's just because I was stupid. I need to change my game options, so instead of having the slider be down at the bottom, it needs to be at the top. Otherwise, you might have noticed that we were getting a frame stutter. It's very subtle. It might actually be too fast to see on the stream, but essentially what was happening there is that because our scroll bar was set to be 0 instead of 1, there's one frame where it's shown at 0, and then it snaps up to 1. So let's go ahead and collapse this, that, hit apply. So I think that's a pretty decent place to stop for a Saturday dev stream. It's a little bit early, but I need to go do research on how best to approach doing custom input solutions. If I have to, I can go through Rewired. I would just really prefer not to. So it would, I don't know, it's going to be a research intensive night for me, I can tell. And in addition to that, I need to do some lawn maintenance. But announcements. Nothing really crazy coming up, so should be back at our normal Tuesday Devstream time at 7 p.m. Eastern. And that's pretty much it. So just a quick review of what we did today. We have FOV sliders in now. They are functioning. Whenever the player spawns, it refreshes player game settings so that everything is guaranteed to be up to date. And we have some amount of the custom input stuff polished up, although we can't actually really customize inputs yet. Well, we can, but we can't get the axis stuff, and that's kind of important. So maybe not. Maybe I can work around with that. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's a good place to stop for the day. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.